Welcome to the Michigan Runner Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
We have here two people who volunteered for the Detroit Free Press Flagstar Bank Marathon. What did each of you do during the race?
We worked as blanket people, one might say. We put the Mylar blankets on the runners that came in.
And you did the same thing?
Oh yeah, we do everything together.
Ah, okay. And did you pick certain people?
Oh, we got to hand some medals out to special people that we know.
Maybe some guys?
Yeah,
Maybe some Masters guys?
definitely.
Oh, Jackie was looking for handsome guys, not me. I was giving the blanket to the people who needed them most.
Oh, they all need them.
We got her husband.
Oh, did your husband run?
Oh yeah, my husband ran.
How'd he do?
Oh, he did very well.
We have here Dewey Ames, who says his name tag says he's in charge of stadium operations. Can you tell us what that means?
Well, basically what I do is everything above ground. Since we know the stadium is a bow, Bob Smith does the field. And I take care of Brush Street, the medical, massage therapist, the food for the runners, sweats, along with the captains who actually do all the work. I'm kind of like the overseer. I have a title that I call quartermaster. If anyone's in the military, they'll understand what a quartermaster is. And we make sure that the runners get what they want, the wheelers and the runners themselves. So,
How did you get started volunteering for this race?
well, I've been with the race for, out of 28 years, I've been with the marathon for 26.
Whew. Now that's a streak.
Yes, and I ran the first 8 out of 10 of the marathons. I used to work with Motor City Striders at the finish line. Then in '86, I started working with the race directors for the Free Press Marathon. And from there on, I've been just connected with it.
Well, you had a huge job. You must have to delegate quite a bit of it to other people.
We have one of the greatest staff of volunteers, particularly captains, who make sure that the job gets done. I really appreciate the work they make. I tell them, and I mean this from my heart, they make my job easy.
We have here the guy who's in charge of the finish line. His name is Bob Smith. Now, Bob, tell us, or begin to tell us, what being in charge of the finish line is all about.
Well, it's a year-round job, of course, and because we have football championships at Ford Field the weekend before, we are working all night long to get the finish line set up. It's not just me. We have other people out on the course doing things all night long. People like Dennis Hanley, Doug Curtis, Joe Baldwin setting up the start line, but it's just an amazing experience to see it all come together on race day.
How did you get started doing that?
Well, I was recruited by Doug Curtis, actually. I have been a volunteer in races. I've done everything you can do in a race except be a race director, which I have no aspirations to. But it's just really wonderful to give back to the sport by helping with an event like the Detroit Marathon.
Well, you had a lot of people finishing this year. Did that make a difference in how your operations went?
It did. We definitely had to adjust for more runners and more spectators, and it was great. We're real happy with the way things turned out. Of course, there are always things you want to improve upon, and next year they will be improved upon, but it's an evolution. It never stops.
Your work is never done if you're a finish line coordinator, right?
Well, anybody involved in a race like this, your job is never done.
We found Joe Baldwin. Among the other things that Joe does is he's the starting line coordinator for the marathon. Now, Joe, tell us some of the things that involves.
Well, with the start line, it's basically about getting everybody organized, creating a start area, letting people know where they need to be, getting bathroom facilities set up and gear check, basically taking care of their needs in the morning leading up to the start gun.
Now, the increased numbers could possibly have made a little bit of a difference in how you manage the starting line. Can you tell us about that?
Well, again, it's my first year as start line director, so there was a big learning curve, and this is more people than we've ever even had before, so it was a lot of a learning curve on the fly. It's going to be so much help for next year knowing what it's like, because it appeared we had not only more runners but more spectators as well. So it's going to be a challenge next year to continue to reorganize it to handle that many people and more.
One of the people runners really depend on is Gary Lake. Now, Gary, tell us why we depend on you.
I manage all the fluid stations in the United States and Canada.
Now, that must be something, having to manage 2 countries.
Yes, it is. Actually, I'm responsible for over 550 volunteers, and it's their jobs to mix the Gatorade concentrate, then get all the water cups and everything set up, and have all their people ready so that when the runners come, they can distribute the liquids to them without any problems.
How do you know how much to have at each spot?
Well, that's an interesting question. My background is that I actually got the Glass City Marathon started several years ago, and nobody wanted to do water stations because they didn't know about quantities, and they didn't know how to manage it and what the whole configuration looked like, table setup, etc. So the interesting thing about our course here is that we have the half marathoners and relay teams all running on the same course, but by 13.1 miles, the half marathoners have dropped off. So the answer to your question, many of the fluid stations have different quantities of water and different quantities of Gatorade based on the amount of runners that they will see. And then there's a usage thing. If it's a hot day, people will be dumping more water on their heads. If it's a cool day, they won't be taking much water at all. So it's a real gamble to decide how much fluid per station.
You probably almost have more than you need.
That is the ideal setup. Yeah, we always have more than we need. And this year I was a little worried because our total quantities were based on 13,000 runners, and I believe we had 13,600 plus. So I had my fingers crossed for the better part of the morning.
But it wasn't hot.
No, it wasn't hot. Fortunately, there wasn't a lot of water being dumped on their heads, so I was okay.
We found Mark Greer, who's one of the volunteers here this evening. And Mark, tell us what you do for the race.
I worked the 19-mile marker. I was talking to the racers, trying to get them motivated, heckling them a little bit, and just keeping them motivated, having fun with the runners.
Having fun with the runners. What are some of the same things you say to us to heckle us?
I was saying, run, you dragging it, quit dogging it. I was telling them 6 more miles to go, motivating them. So I'm going to keep up everybody else. I was basically just enjoying myself, and they was responding to me pretty well, and it was all in fun.
Well, that's a spot where we certainly need it, and I bet you saw people pick it up a bit.
Oh, yeah, especially on Belle Isle. A lot of people on the island want to get off of it. So once they get on the island, they want to get off. And I just had a great time. Usually I'm a runner, but I volunteered this time because I had operation on my leg. But I had fun just enjoying it. I volunteers I was with. And it's good to see the other side of when I run, what I would enjoy people do to me if I was running.
Of all the volunteers we found, it's Doug Curtis, who's done such an amazing job with this race for so many years. Now, Doug, among the other things, you drive the lead vehicle and you design the course. What are some of the other things you do?
Oh, man, write columns, too.
That's right.
Promote the race every way I can, recruit, actually, this is perfect for me because I recruit a lot of volunteers. The fortunate thing of being involved in the sport for so long, I've been associated with a lot of running clubs, so I find ways to get all the running clubs involved. This year, like the Monroe Milers is an example. I got them to handle all my sweep vehicles and really put them to work. And I try to match volunteers with what I think their expertise is.
Well, Doug, Detroit really got on the map this year with huge numbers. Congratulations, and thanks for everything you do, and thanks for talking with us.
It's exciting to be part of just an unbelievable event. So thanks, Jenny.